right, we're jumping into the action, guys. Another parking lot crit here. Usually don't like to be this far back, but right before the race, the homie Stash Power, now that we squashed the beef, he told me, yo, dude, we're racing for you today. There he is. Attack goes. He follows. And I get to do nothing. And that feels pretty dang good. Sit back, just follow wheels, and yeah, hoping to either get into a break or hopefully Stash kind of controls the field, and I've got some saved legs for a field sprint. All right, another attack right here. Kelsey from St. Al's goes. Bird follows. Fairly threatening. Stash, he's on it. Another one. Not gonna lie, guys, I could definitely get used to this. Here goes another attack. Stash Power. Boom, right on it. Dude, pretty nice having someone chase everything down. And another one. This one was a little bit interesting. Up the road we have Stash Power, then a bird, one other person, and then Brian from Bob's just went. So I'm on the front, and I'm going to let that go because, I mean, Stash and I are working together somewhat, right? And right here on the left, Clint goes. And at that moment, I figure that's like 5 or 6 guys up the road. That's just too many for a break, in my opinion. So I'm going to chase that down and get on Clint's wheel here. Then right here, this is really interesting. I was very excited. On the front there, like I said, Stash, a bird, but it wasn't the strongest bird. The strongest birds are Ben and Noah, and they weren't up there. And then on the left here, you see the bird's coach. And he's yelling back to Ben and Noah saying, hey, go over the top.
Hey, we got the break, let's go. Birds are gonna counter, birds are gonna counter. Birds are countering, let's go.
And so I start yelling at everyone, trying to get them organized, figuring if we can work together, then right there, the bird falls off.
Let's go, 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 go. Birds are gonna counter, birds are gonna counter. Let's go.
Like I say, very exciting. I figured if we could get organized right here, we have a St. Al's rider, they won't chase. But then, sure enough, behind us, Noah catches. That was probably our best opportunity to get Ben and Noah in the field behind and then form a break without them. Because, I mean, this is race number 6 or 5 or 6. They've been in every single break that's happened, one or the other or both. So, anyways, kind of exciting for a minute, but alas, didn't work out. Jumping ahead, we're about 10 minutes in. This is a 35-minute crit, and I'm probably like 12th wheel right here, and realize that if a brake goes, which most likely will, that's what's been happening the last couple of weeks here at this race, I better be at the front. So this is the headwind section, but I need to get to the front, so I start pushing up. And to be honest, it was just extremely lucky that I did that right then. Stash Power had been following a lot of moves, controlling the front. I knew he's probably a little bit tired. And Noah right here, he looks at me and just launches. Ben looks at it, he goes, and then I, a little bit delayed, go after it. And that's, I mean, honestly, just super lucky, right time, right place. And like I said, moments before that, on 12th wheel. And so, like I said, I was super happy that I moved up when I did. And the awesome part about this right here, Brian Cohagen on the front, he'd been on the front, and so he's probably a little gassed. Then you have Stash Power, who, like I said, already told me that he's going to be working for me. He's not going to chase this back. He's going to block a little bit. Behind him, another bird. So those two are definitely not going to chase this back. Just a perfect scenario in order for this break to stick. And so I, after a lot of work, get back on these guys' wheel, and we start rotating through. And I'm not going to lie, guys. Last year, I gave a lot of grief to the birds because they never really worked in scenarios like this. But I will say, Noah and Ben, these guys were determined. Not gonna lie, they're a little bit skinny, so it doesn't help in the draft for me to get a really good recovery when I'm not on the front. But they were putting in work, and I was willing to do the same. Can't remember the last time that I saw 178 heart rate, guys. To get on their wheel, I definitely had to push it. And then when I got into the break, wanted to work, make sure that we got a good gap. And yeah, paying for it. $179 now. Yee. Guys, before we go on, I am going to shamelessly ask you to subscribe. Every week I ask myself, why do I make all these videos? Why do I spend all this time? And sometimes I don't really have good answers. But if you guys subscribed, maybe it would all be worth it. So do me a favor and do that. All right, back to the race. Let me point out the obvious. I'm not a breakaway guy, but I was very motivated to get into a break with these two just because, like I say, this is week 6, I believe. And almost every single week, it's come down to a breakaway and then the field sprinting for 4th or 5th. This really isn't my power profile, but I figured if I can get into a break, I can hang on. I mean, the break started at 10 minutes in. It's a 35-minute crit, so this is going to be a long break. But I was motivated to kind of stick it and work with these guys. This is the tailwind section, and to be honest, I kind of thought these guys would kind of rotate through, try to force me to take the headwind sections, but they didn't. We kind of, in my opinion, we all took our fair share. The only problem is I probably worked too hard and got kind of gassed, to be honest. It was at this point of the race that I realized we're probably going to stick it, but I was just absolutely buried. I had probably worked a little bit too hard. On my pulls, I probably went a little too hard. And then, to be honest, these guys' draft wasn't the greatest. Like I said, these guys are fairly skinny dudes, 16-year-olds, man. Every time we passed the lap counter, I was so hopeful that it would say 5 or maybe even 4 laps to go. But it didn't. It just was blank for so long. And I kept looking at my bike computer and realizing that we still had a ways to go. And this may have been a big mistake. It was with about 4 laps to go that I put my tail between my legs and realized that without hanging on these guys' wheels, I might not even get to the finish line. So that's when I pipe up and say,
hey, I'll let you guys have the last lap if you want it. Just tell me, hey, I'm tired.
I say it like I'm doing them a favor, but the reality is I really don't know if I would have been able to do it without them. I was toast. After the race, I kind of wish I would have just kept my mouth shut and at least tried for the field sprint, but I don't know. I was completely cooked. A bit later, we come into the start finish for the last lap, and I sign off.
Good job, boys.
Like I say, I kind of wish, hindsight, right? In the moment, you're tired, you're not thinking straight. Hindsight, I wish I would have at least tried. Noah ended up leading Ben out for the win, and I came in a couple seconds later for 3rd place. Guys, that is my best result so far in this parking lot series this summer, but I wish I would have at least maybe held onto the wheel. Maybe I could have come around Noah. I don't know. Maybe I would have cramped up. Maybe I would have pulled a hammy. Who knows? Fun race. It's fun being in the break for a guy like me who doesn't usually get into a break. And the best news of all, guys, after the race, I was chatting with Noah, and from the sounds of it, both Ben and Noah are super close to upgrading to Cat 2, and I won't have to race with them anymore in the Cat 3-4, which would be great. Guys, tomorrow it's like Christmas for Boise bike racing. Boise Twilight Criterium, downtown, super fun. I did it last year. I did the 4-5 race. If you've watched that video before, it's where I got called out for being a sandbagger, which was not cool, by the way. So keep an eye out for that video. And once again, guys, please subscribe. Please, honestly, I don't know why I do this, honestly.